Hey guys, it's Tim, and this is Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Friday, and tonight was Friday Night Smackdown. Now, as far as tonight's Friday Night Smackdown does go, I thought it was a pretty good show. Not great or anything, but I thought it was pretty good. We got some advancements as far as SummerSlam does go, so you know I always like that when we're building towards the next pay-per-view or premium live event, and we got some interesting things on the show tonight. I will say that for sure. There's going to be, the one thing that is interesting to me is this Battle Royal. There's a Battle Royal taking place at SummerSlam. We do know that LA Knight is going to be in this Battle Royal, but WWE, or LA Knight himself, announced that there will be a SummerSlam Battle Royal sponsored by a Slim Jim. Don't really have many details on it. LA Knight was one of two competitors announced for the match, with Sheamus of the Brawling Brutes also set to compete. The two will square off in a singles match the night before on SmackDown. So, don't fully know what this Battle Royal is going to be, and if the winner gets something big for it, but cool. There is a Battle Royal taking place at SummerSlam. Hopefully the winner gets a U.S. title shot, and we don't know if it's co-branded either. We don't know if it's just SmackDown or if it's Raw and SmackDown. I would like it to be both, like the WrestleMania Battle Royals were, which bring those back to WrestleMania. But regardless, that was announced on tonight's show, and a bunch of other stuff was set as well. I want to say thank you for joining me here, twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you are watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and you always get one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month. And I'd greatly appreciate it if you did right here. Excuse me. Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember to head over to YouTube, hit that join button to become a channel member. That greatly helps out the channel as well. And finally, head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether you're buying a new game, whether you're buying an old game, whether you're claiming a free game or getting bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, or Fall Guys, use our code right here, PW Unlimited, at checkout, and you will be supporting us at no extra cost. Heck, you know what just went on to the Epic Game Store and on PC? Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. That game is so much fun, so good. Go get it. Go play it. The Expanse, a Telltale series, that's supposed to be really good as well. Remnant 2. There's also a summer sale with stuff up to 75% off. Use this code, PWUNLIMITED, for all your Epic Games and Epic Game Store purchases. We're also brought to you by Pro Wrestling Loot, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Let me refresh my notes here. We'll get right into it. Michael Cole welcomes everybody to the show, and Jey Uso is already standing in the ring with a microphone. Jey said that he's in New Orleans and Roman Reigns' music hits as soon as he says New Orleans. Reigns walks out with Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa. It was then 7 minutes later before Roman finally says, New Orleans, acknowledge me. What? Goddamn, Undertaker entrance. Bull crap. Anyways. Reigns told Jey when the Tribal Chief appears, the Tribal Chief opens the show. Reigns then told Jey he made Jey the right-hand man. He made him into main event Jey Uso. Reigns also took credit for a number of other successes that Jey has had over the last couple of years. Reigns asked Uso if he thought that he was the Tribal Chief now or something. Jey said he never wanted any of that, even though the shirt he's wearing literally says the real chief. So you do want something, bud. Jey said that all he did was watch Roman's back. Jey said he believed in Roman. Jey said that he believed Roman could lead the family, but Roman broke the family. Because of that, Jay is going to do what he has to do. Also, Roman did say, only reason you became the right-hand man, only reason you became main event Jey Uso was because your brother Jimmy was out injured. So you kind of just took it upon yourself to do things that wouldn't have happened if he was there. Basically, Roman said Jimmy was holding you down. Jay said that everything was all Roman's fault. Roman said Jay's jealousy was what's turned everything south. Roman called Jay selfish. Roman says Jay doesn't get it, and Jay is going to be all alone. Roman said Jay screwed Jimmy and also loves and respects Roman more than he does Jay. Roman said that hypothetically speaking, what if Jay beats Roman? In that case, he gets the belt. He gets the lay. He gets everything. But Roman will still be Roman Reigns and still be able to do whatever he damn well pleases. The two engaged in a stare down as the crowd chanted Uso. Jay said that he's the only one who has beaten Roman Reigns because he's already pinned him. He knows how to do this. Jay grabbed the back of Roman's neck and said at SummerSlam, he'll beat Roman again. Jay's music hit, and Jay left the ring to end the segment. So, yeah, good opening segment here between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, but like I said before, and I'm not getting tired of the bloodline, but it's just a lot of more of the same. It's a lot of the same stuff now. It's getting a little repetitive. So backstage, Jey Uso does run into Grayson Waller. He asked Jay to come on the Grayson Waller effect. Jay responded kindly by saying no and smacked him in the face. Then we had our first match of the night. It went 14 and a half minutes. It was Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar. Winner gets a shot at the U.S. title. Match was good. Two worked hard, but I wouldn't call it a great match. I felt like there was really no heat for the match. And then once Escobar won, it's like the crowd didn't really care much. So Escobar had control early, working Rey Mysterio's leg. Austin Theory was shown in the upper bowl of the arena, eating popcorn, watching along. Escobar turned his attention to Mysterio's arm. Escobar kicked Mysterio's leg, and Mysterio slapped the hell out of Escobar. Escobar returned the favor, and Mysterio set Escobar up for a 619, but Escobar rolled to the outside. From there, Mysterio hit a big senton on Escobar as we went to a commercial break. When the show did return, Mysterio landed an arm drag back inside the ring. Mysterio went to the top rope and landed a senton. Mysterio went for a cover and got a 2 count out of it. Escobar then responded with a series of leaping elbows before hitting an enziguri. Escobar then hit a leg drop and got a 2 off of it. Mysterio rolled up Escobar for a 2. Mysterio then ran at Escobar, who caught him with a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. Mysterio was on Escobar's shoulders at one point, and the two made their way outside in the same position. Ultimately, Mysterio went for a baseball slide, and Escobar moved. Escobar followed this up with the top rope suicida as the show went to another commercial break. Back from that break, a doctor was checking on Rey. Commentary said that Mysterio hit his head on the ground after the Escobar suicida. So that's an interesting thing to do there. As a result, the referee called the match off, which is very weird, saying Mysterio could no longer compete, therefore giving Santos Escobar the win. Again, that's probably one reason why the finish felt flat and the crowd didn't really care, because Escobar didn't beat Rey. The doctor beat Rey. So, yeah. Not a big fan of the finish there, where there's like, Rey got hurt, match is off. Okay, then. Cool. They didn't want to beat either guy, but they wanted Escobar to get the title shot, I guess. I don't know. Not a big fan of the way this match ended. I'm going to butcher this name. Jawan Gordy says Michael Cole said that the SummerSlam Battle Royal will have Raw and SmackDown superstars in it. Okay, cool. I didn't catch that. So backstage, Bianca Belair was being interviewed, and she was interrupted by Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. The two mocked Belair for not being a champion anymore. Green then mocked Charlotte Flair. Belair told Green, "Don't disrespect her." Charlotte then showed up and called Green and Deville bullies. From there on, Charlotte suggested a match, her and Bianca versus Chelsea and Sonya. The match does eventually get announced. The Hit Row was in the ring. And almost instantly, LA Knight interrupts them. He called Top Dollar Uncle Phil. Knight recalled Dollar saying Nola is corny. And Knight called BFAB corny. Knight then led the crowd in his catchphrase, yeah. So we did have LA Knight versus Ashanti the Adonis match in a minute and a half. Not much to talk about. Ashanti had control early, but the crowd went nuts for LA Knight. Dalla then landed a cheap shot on Knight, but before long, Knight hit a neck breaker and a power slam. Then the crowd was really behind him. He landed the elbow and a blunt force trauma to pick up the victory. So there we go. Jey Uso was backstage, and Adam Pearce talked to him. Pearce made a match between Jay and Waller. Backstage, the Street Profits were hanging out with Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley talked about how he likes the Street Profits. He said, I talked to Trick and Mello last week, and they talked very highly of you guys. And I want to align myself with you guys, is basically what he said. But you guys need to dress better. And they're sitting there with like this wine or whatever, and Dawkins was like playing with the wine and swirling it around. And Ford was like, yeah, dress better. And Ford usually, nice shirt, slacks, pants, whatever. Dawkins always wearing the sweats. And Ford smacks Dawkins and he's like, what? He goes, you need to dress better. And he's like, what's wrong with sweats? And Bobby's like, hey, I got nothing against sweats, but I got something for you guys. It's on me. Get you guys some new suits. And like, oh, big money Bobby. Big money Bobby. Hooking it up. So Bobby Lashley is basically turning the Street Profits into Her Business 2.0, I guess. We then go to the ring. Charlotte Flair's there, and they tell us that tag match did get made. The match itself goes 10.5 minutes. It's Bianca Belair and Charlotte Flair against Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. Belair and Green started off the match. Belair worked a side headlock and then landed a shoulder block to Green. Charlotte then got a blind tag, which annoyed Bianca. Charlotte slammed Green's head into the mat repeatedly. Belair tagged in and slammed Green, who crawled over to tag Deville, who, was then slammed by Belair. Soon thereafter, Belair landed a dropkick on Deville. Deville came back with a boot to the face of Belair and got a 2 count. From there, the show went to a commercial break. As the show returned, Green and Deville did have control. They charged when Belair landed a double. That changed, though, when Belair landed a double suplex on both Green and Deville. Charlotte then received the hot tag and came off the top for a double crossbody. Charlotte then hit a series of chops on Green. Charlotte then landed a follow-away slam on Green, which was followed up with a clothesline and a 2 count. Green then tagged in Deville, who was rolled up by Charlotte for a 2. Charlotte then hit a follow-away slam on Deville and went for the figure 8, but Deville worked out of it. Belair then tagged herself in and landed a bunch of drop kicks on Deville. Green then got the blind tag and cut Belair off as she went for the unpretty her, but Charlotte got in the way. Charlotte then tagged herself in while Belair was going for the KOD. Charlotte then hit a boot to Green's head and pinned her for the win. Afterwards, Charlotte and Bianca did kind of argue for a little bit, but there we go. Charlotte and Bianca do pick up the victory. The show then cuts backstage where Bayley and Io Sky were talking. Bayley then had a message from Shotzi in her backpack, and the two were going to leave until Asuka showed up and stopped them. Asuka says she's going to wrestle 2 of the best ever at SummerSlam in Charlotte and Bianca. Asuka then mocks Sky for potentially cashing in her Money in the Bank briefcase. Sky says she will leave SummerSlam as a champion. So they're really, really, really pushing hard that Io is cashing in at SummerSlam. Or at least wants to cash in at SummerSlam. So Adam Pearce is backstage, talking on the phone when he was interrupted by LA Knight, who talked about a battle royal at SummerSlam. Sheamus then cut Knight off, and Sheamus was surrounded by the Brawling Brutes. Sheamus did the banger after banger after banger after banger catchphrase. Pearce then said, you know what? Both of you, Sheamus and Pearce, or Knight, you're going to be in a battle royal at SummerSlam. And how about you guys go one-on-one next week as well? So I don't know, again, what this battle royal is going to be. Apparently, Michael Cole said it's both brands, so cool. Karrion Kross then took on Carl Anderson in a 2-minute match. Quick and painless is what I would call this. Anderson attacked Kross to start the match. Anderson landed a leaping drop neck breaker. He got a 2. Scarlett distracted Anderson, and Kross took advantage by hitting a series of elbows. Kross did a Saito suplex. Kross then hit his new finisher and picked up the victory. After the match, Kross choked Anderson out until AJ Styles and Meacham would run down to make the save. The show then went to the back, where Heyman, Reigns, and Solo were there ready to watch Jay. It was like, okay, I don't know what this OC or AJ, whatever you want to call it, Karrion Kross stuff really is. But before we get to the main event match, Jey Uso versus Grayson Waller again, here have a word from our sponsor. This podcast is brought to you by Pro Wrestling Loot. For the fan and all of us, Pro Wrestling Loot is a curated box of pro wrestling merchandise sent to you every single month at one low cost. Each month, you're going to get a t-shirt, autographs, posters, art, and collectibles. This past month, they sent us the CMLL Welterweight Championship. For our listeners right here, use code PW Unlimited at checkout and you will get 20% off your next purchase. Again, head over to ProWrestlingLoot.com and use code PWU NLIMITED at checkout to get 20% off your next order. So going forward, we had the main event match that went 11 minutes, a little past 11 minutes. It was Jey Uso and Grayson Waller. And man, WWE is doing everything they can to push Grayson Waller as a top guy, but not as a super top guy because he can't ever get the win. But they really, you could tell they like Grayson Waller. So Waller had control early until Uso fought back with a leaping elbow. Waller regained control with a boot to the face, but Uso slammed Waller before landing a kick to Waller's throat. Waller then fired up and raked Uso's face. Uso then stood up and hit an enziguri. As Uso was playing to the crowd, Roman Reigns' music would hit, and Reigns came out to ringside with Paul and Solo. Waller then took advantage here and hit with a knee to Uso's head as the show went to the final break of the night. But the show returned, and Waller was working a side headlock on Uso. Jey then fought his way out of it, and the two battled on the second rope. Waller then dropped Uso with a right hand and followed this up with 2 elbows and got a 2 off of it. Waller then went for a kick, but Jey ducked and lifted Waller, but Waller worked out of it and hit a spine buster. Waller then mocked the Rock's People's elbow and put his own spin on it, but Uso moved out of the way and fired up. Uso then went for a hip attack, and Waller moved. From there, Waller ran into a super kick from Uso. Jey stared at Roman and landed a spear on Waller. Uso then went to the top rope, hit the Uso splash, and picked up the victory. So there we go. Jey Uso does defeat Grayson Waller. Now, after the match, Sikoa would attack Jey. Sikoa lifted Uso and went for the spike, but Jey ducked it and hit a super kick. Roman then ran into the ring, and Jey landed a spear on Roman. Jey went to the top rope, but Solo Sikoa pushed Jey off. Sikoa then planted Uso and grabbed a hold of Jey. Roman speared Jey. Roman did it again. Roman went for a second to the second rope and posed as the show went off the air. There we go. Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa stand tall. And as far as this tribal combat goes, the way Michael Cole and Wade Barrett were talking, it seems like it's just basically no rules. Because they kept saying something along the lines of, Roman can use illegal tactics. Jey can use illegal tactics. So it seems like it's going to be like some sort of a street fight, no rules type of match. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, was Friday Night Smackdown. You know what I thought of the show? Now, you guys, time to hear what you guys thought of tonight's show as we check the polls. So let's refresh all of this right here. As far as the Twitter poll does go, 100% liked the show. That's good to see. Very good to see. Looking over at the Twitter poll. The Twitch poll, 100%. Twitter poll, 75%. And then 12%, 75% liked it, 12% thought it was all right, and 12% didn't. As far as the YouTube community poll, pretty similar. 72% liked it, 16% thought it was all right, and 6% didn't. Looking at the comments here, this person says loved it, especially the main event. This person says loved it. This person says, are you going to review Great American Bash on Sunday? I believe so. If not Sunday night, then it'll be part of the wrestling wrap-up Monday morning. But I believe I should be home to do it Sunday night. And this person says, outside of Roman, straight trash. And as far as the live poll does go, YouTube Live, 74% liked it, 18% thought it was just all right, and 9% didn't like Smackdown. So with that, guys, that is going to wrap everything up. I do want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod App, Pod Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. With that, we should be live tomorrow night following AEW Collision. They got some big matches on that show, like the World Tag Titles are on the line, and a ladder match between Buddy Matthews and Andrade El Idolo. With that, guys, have a great rest of your Friday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow after Collision.